And our top focus on world DNA. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with his Quad counterparts, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Japan's Takeshi Iwaya, and Australia's Penny Wong.
Now, they met him at the U.S. Department of State. The grouping, which has been around for more than 15 years now, is seen as a major strategy of the four democracies to counter China's growing assertiveness and vast territorial claims in the region. And this includes all of the strategically important South China Sea and the democratic self-governing island of Taiwan. The four ministers were in Washington to attend President Donald Trump's inauguration.
In a joint statement after the meeting in Washington, D.C., the Quad foreign ministers said they strongly oppose any unilateral actions that seek to change the status quo by force or coercion. They said in the statement that they are at present preparing for the next Quad leaders summit hosted by India.
Rubio also separately met the three foreign ministers, starting with Jaishankar. In a post on social media later, Jaishankar said he and Rubio reviewed U.S. and India's extensive bilateral partnership and also exchanged views on a wide range of regional and global issues.
Jaishankar also met with U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz at the White House and discussed strengthening friendship to ensure mutual benefit and enhance global stability and prosperity.
The timing of the Quad meeting on Donald Trump's first full day in office underscores his administration's prioritization of countering China's influence in the Indo-Pacific region. By convening this meeting just hours after Secretary of State Marco Rubio was sworn in, the administration is sending a signal regarding its commitment to strengthening alliances in the region with key regional players: Australia, India, and Japan. The early focus highlights the importance of addressing shared concerns like security and infrastructure. The Quad's evolution, notably since 2017, gives the Trump administration a ready-made framework to advance its policies in the Indo-Pacific region. Leveraging the history also allows the administration to build on established trust and cooperation among its members while avoiding the appearance of explicitly being an anti-China alliance. Meanwhile, the first meeting Marco Rubio had as Secretary of State was with his Indian counterpart, S. Jaishankar, at the State Department. Meanwhile, Bloomberg is reporting that India is cooperating on the repatriation of Indian citizens residing illegally in the United States, with around 18,000 migrants expected to be deported. Rubio also met one-on-one with his counterparts from the other Quad member states as well.
And for more on this, we are now being joined by retired Colonel David B. Desroches from Bethesda, Maryland. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Well, let me begin by asking you, well, it's now Trump 2.0. So how do you see Quad looking like going forward?
Well, I think the Quad is a key part of the message Trump wants to send on foreign policy, which is rather than being diverted by what Trump sees as sideshows in the Middle East particularly, he wants to focus on what America's pacing threat is, which is China. At the same time, there's concern that our partners in the Pacific region feel that the United States has been drifting and losing focus on what's going on. So I think this is trying to set a tone and say what the administration wants to do in the security realm.
Colonel, as far as that tone is concerned, let me just take a little further from where you left it off. The fact that the newly appointed Secretary of State has met his Quad counterparts jointly and individually, and this is within hours of the swearing-in ceremony. Do you feel there is a sense of urgency in Trump 2.0 for the Indo-Pacific, or any heightened importance that they're giving to it, which perhaps was missing before as per this government?
Well, I think the Trump administration as a whole is moving with a very great sense of urgency. I mean, when Trump was president the first time, it took months to get his government in place. He really didn't know what he was doing. Here, he went straight from his swearing in to a rally where he publicly signed executive orders. Yesterday, a big part of his national security team, pretty much everybody who didn't require confirmation at the Pentagon, for example, was sworn in. So he's clearly ready to go, and I think he's well aware of the fact that, he only has 4 years and he has a lot he wants to do.
And that being said, how do you think China will be reacting to Trump and Quad?
Well, China reacts negatively to anything that has even the appearance of countering their perceived domination of what they see as their sphere of influence. So I don't expect it to be positive.
Colonel, the fact that Xi Jinping had been invited, of course, he didn't make it there, but, in their joint statement, the Quad leaders made it clear, let me just read it out, that they strongly oppose any unilateral actions that seek to change the status quo by force or coercion. Now, I was just trying to, think about the fact that if Xi Jinping had been there and they would have had this meeting planned anyway, this kind of a statement going out to China right there, what kind of tone is this setting for the US and China going forward with Trump at the fore?
Well, the statement doesn't refer explicitly to China, and of course there are other territorial disputes between Korea and Japan, for example. But usually when we do that, what the reference is to is China's annexation and colonization of islands and reefs in the South China Sea, and China's desire to incorporate Taiwan into their nation. So I think China would view it negatively, as they always do.
Colonel, thank you so much for joining us here on World DNA. With the speed at which Trump is going at this point, as we could gauge from the swearing-in ceremony, there will be a lot more to discuss going forward. We'd love to have you on the show again.
I'd be honored.
Yes.